What is up? Welcome back to Softcore History. I am your host for the week, Rob Fox, joined as always by Dan Regester.
Thank you for having me on your show, Rob.
It's so good to have you.
It's always
here.
a pleasure.
Now, what have you been up to lately?
What's going on with Dan in 2025?
Yeah.
Big things, Rob.
Golf bets.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Great things, better things coming down the pipeline.
Sure. Great.
I want to keep it close to the vest. Though,
Okay,
you know?
yeah. You don't want to tell the people. There's not a lot of reason to talk on a podcast, and
No, strong silent type.
strong silent type plays well on the mic for sure. We are joined by a very special guest today, an out-of-the-box left field guest, not one of our regulars. We have a woman of many talents, but she's here for one thing in particular, Teague Dooley-Panko.
Yay!
So happy to have you on the show.
I'm so happy to be here.
Your resume is, I was like kind of going over it.
I mean, the name alone fills up a good bit of the resume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's
The
a lot going on.
Whole top line. Do people pronounce your name wrong a lot?
Oh, yeah, I've heard it all.
Tige.
Tige, Tiggy, Tiage was one of my favorite iterations. Yeah, and sometimes I'm just like, yes, that sounds good. I do feel bad. It's not really spelled phonetically correctly. So if someone does say it wrong, I'm like, it's not your fault.
Right.
It's not. It's
Tiage
not
is
technically
definitely
right.
more exotic.
Tiage.
Yeah, I like Tiage.
You're Brazilian, if I feel like at Tiage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a
Exotic.
singular named, a mono-named
Right.
Brazilian soccer player.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
At
my
least
God.
racially ambiguous.
That too, yeah. Tiage could be literally anyone from any part of the world.
Yeah, but cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Unambiguously
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But you're here. Before we get to the reason you're here,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I was just like thinking about your sort of your resume or whatever. It's very impressive and very eclectic. I feel like because you are a former Laker girl. Mm-hmm. I believe. Did you try out for the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders?
I did.
Were you on the show?
I did. I was on the show.
Okay.
I was crying a lot on the show, and I made it to the last round and was cut. But then 2 weeks later, tried out for Lakers, and thank God that worked out because
Nice.
I was losing my mind.
It's probably for the best. I think the Cowboys cheerleaders make like $10,000 a year.
I think it's less than that.
Sweet.
But yeah, no, I'm super happy that I ended up in LA.
Yeah.
I do love Dallas. It would have been so sick if that worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just didn't work out at the time.
Yeah,
So.
former Laker girl, which, by the way, you parlayed into being a star of Winning Time on HBO.
Yeah, when they announced that show was happening, I was like, "There's no way I'm not working on
How
that
could you
show."
not get that?
So I went gangbusters trying to figure out how to get on, and I figured it out.
Yeah.
Rejected by Dallas, moved on to LA.
Yeah.
You're the Luka Doncic.
Yes,
Before
I
Luka.
am.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Dallas didn't want you. You went to bigger and better.
Yeah, and my
things and
paychecks
cities.
don't look similar, but but yes.
Whose does?
Yeah.
To Lucas.
Right.
And then you also do a lot of TV hosting.
Yeah.
For NBA stuff, entertainment stuff, but also
Yeah.
if you follow Teague on Instagram, which I recommend, I feel like LeBron James is on your stories every day. And what I mean by that is like LeBron James is like 8 feet away from you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have beef with you already.
Why?
Me and LeBron have this thing that goes back to when I was 16.
What happened? Did he beat you up?
I went to LeBron James Basketball
You
Academy.
beat up his spirit.
He did.
Oh,
He
said you sucked?
he squashed my soul.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
I just stood up in front of the whole camp, and he kind of clowned me.
What did he say to you again?
They handed me the microphone to ask a question because it was Q&A, and he's just like, "Nah, dog, not you." Pass the mic.
I forgot that it was.
So you didn't even get a question out?
No, as just 16, coming into my own,
Your hero.
starting to
is
figure
standing in
out
front of you.
Yeah.
what I was in this world.
Right.
About to ask my, I don't even know what the question was, but about to ask probably the most groundbreaking question
Something he
imaginable.
never
at
heard
camp.
before.
Yeah.
Right.
He just told me to pass the mic and to sit my ass down.
You know what? That's a good story.
So now it's my life
Right.
goal to tell
Yeah.
LeBron James to sit down. I don't care if I have to be a waiter, but I'll do it.
No,
We
we
can
have
make
figured
that
out
happen.
he's going to have to be like an orderly in a hospital when LeBron is like 90.
Right. That's not a bad way in.
That's the only way.
Mr. James, take a seat.
Yeah, Mr. James,
Yeah.
please sit back down. You're not healthy enough to get out. He's like,
I'm
"Do
playing
you
the long
remember
game."
me?" Yeah,
Play the long game.
and all you're built like a hospital orderly, so
yeah.
that's all you need. There's no training for it.
No, I just got to restrain him.
Just put on. You don't even need to do it. Just find out when he's in the hospital. Put on the uniform one day, and
A 90-year-old LeBron will still be I'll also be older.
yeah, you'll be like 84. So
But I think I'll probably be in better shape by then.
I maybe.
Who knows? He'll probably still be playing in the NBA. So
Yeah, no joke. But your most recent thing, that you've done is you're now an author. Mm-hmm. You wrote the Social Media Detox.
I did.
So let's just dive into it.
I'm sorry. What was the title?
The Social Media Detox.
This is awkward.
Why?
Do you know how we make a living?
I know it is a little bit ironic, and it's really ironic promoting it because obviously the only way I'm promoting it is on social media. But you have to meet the people where they are. So that's kind of what I've been saying.
Right.
But
you just pay someone to do it. You never check.
Yeah.
That's really.
I try to like compartmentalize it and not stress about it being on social, but you have to do it.
I mean, where else are you gonna
stop ingesting the poison?
Why would you go? To, why would you go to a place where people aren't addicted to heroin? And try to get them unaddicted from heroin.
That's the thing. It's like you gotta just sneak in.
Right.
You gotta sneak attack.
Like, hey, do you hate this? Do you want to quit?
Yeah.
How dark did your social media addiction get?
You know, it got dark. It got dark. Like a lot of, as we were discussing, I was a Laker girl and I've done a lot of stuff in entertainment. And so much of my job and identity was tied to, those jobs. And so like it was like posting on social media and that's how I felt relevant. And especially when I was done with Laker Girls, I just noticed like I was filling that void a lot with social media. So I was like addicted to social media. I was addicted to like what people thought of me.
So like more so on the posting side?
On the posting side and just like.
Because I feel like a lot of people are like just scrolling addicted.
But like I think I was always like upset. Like I was always seeing people's job promotions and like getting married and like having kids. I just felt like just overwhelmed all the time. And like I feel like I started making decisions in my life based on like what it would look like on social media, which then I was like, I got to figure something out because this is crazy. Like I'm like basing trips and like friendships off of what it would look like online, and that's insane. And so so that's when I started to be like, maybe I should look into like finding solutions for myself. And then I started finding solutions for myself, and then I started talking to my nieces who are young cutie patooties, like 16, 13, and they're also
like fucking in it. That was the worst. So I thought about this at one point, probably when I was thinking about my kids, maybe even before that. But I was like, man, I remember being in high school and being like, I wonder if I suck. You know what I mean? The answer was probably yes, but I was still. But the answer was probably yes. But the thing is, it was probably yes, but I couldn't know for sure.
Right.
But if you're on social media, there's almost a metric to be like, dude, you blow and no one likes you.
Yes, isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
And like, I talked to a lot of people, obviously, when I was making this book, and I talked to some like high school principals and middle school principals, and they were saying like, kids nowadays, like when we were growing up, if you had a bully. You had a bully at school, and then you went home and you were safe, right? Now it's like
maybe for you. My dad was my bully.
Okay, fair. But like now, these kids, like these bullies, come home with them, and then they're in their pocket, and like this stuff never ends. Like the cyberbullying so bad, and like the comparison never ends. Especially like these kids are like before they're going through puberty. It's like so scary and dangerous, and it's a wild world we're living in, and we just didn't know what we were doing, like handing these kids these weapons, and so now we have to deal with it.
Now we have to monetize Rob's kids. Yes.
Yeah. We like to joke on this.
The world's not changing. Okay, we need to take advantage with what we know.
We like to joke that it used to be like in the Middle Ages or whatever, even like the 1800s.
Yeah.
You had kids. And they could work on your farm,
right?
And now they work the fields of your content farm.
Absolutely,
they're your content farmers.
It's kind of sad. Like some of the like mommy bloggers that like make a living off of like putting their kids online. I'm like,
We're looking for the next Costco family.
Like it's crazy,
rough,
right?
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine growing up like that and your mom being like, "Hey, no, do it again. It wasn't cute enough."
You can play that toy in a way.
Yeah, you look weird
you need to
doing
cheat.
that.
No,
cheat to the camera.
Yeah.
There's a natural progression to all of this, and it all leads to celebrity boxing.
What, for the kids?
Yes, you're a child internet star, and you eventually become a celebrity boxer.
Yeah, I mean, like the Rizzler is going to be extremely destitute at some point and fighting people for money on television. Almost feels.
Yeah,
like
it's a natural progression.
Yeah. Like one to the other.
Yeah.
So
I don't think much has changed. It's just a freak show.
Right. And so how before we get into the historical topic today that mirrors your expertise here. How long did it take you to write the book? Like when did you like I'm just going to sit down and did you detox and then you're like, "Oh, that worked?"
Yeah, like I tried a bunch of different stuff. So I talked to a bunch of different doctors, therapists, and like I tried a bunch of, it's basically a bunch of mindfulness exercises.
Okay.
So like to get yourself like off of your phone. So yeah, I tried a bunch, and then I started writing it probably like a year ago, and I have like changed it a million times. And like even after I released it, like, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks ago, whenever I did that, I had a panic attack in the middle of the night. I was like, I need to change a page. So I like changed. So, you know, the cool thing about self-publishing is you can do that. You can like go in and like change something and then just republish it. So
that's sick.
That's been cool.
So wait, you didn't go to a wellness retreat in like Costa Rica?
No, I didn't. And I didn't do like
ayahuasca.
You would think that that would have been something I did. I'm not opposed to that.
I would actually immediately disinvite you off the set if you had done ayahuasca. I'd be like, I can't deal with that here.
Why not? You're scared of it? Are you scared of like what you're going to find out about yourself?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't need to.
The demon within, he doesn't want to unleash.
No.
Onto this
It's
world.
in a cage.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
What do you?
No one wants to see that.
Love's a monster.
Yeah. And I've buried it so deep down.
And they say ayahuasca and all these drugs kind of kill the ego. No. I mean, it kills one of the egos, and then like a phoenix rising from the ashes becomes a much worse
rises up inside of you.
Ego.
Yeah, so I'm keeping that monster in its cage for a long time. Maybe once the kids are out of high school, I'll see.
Then you'll rebrand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I'll do the ayahuasca.
They'll go to college. You'll divorce your wife.
Well,
you'll start dating a 19-year-old.
I mean, look, we can't predict the future.
I can. I just called it.
Yeah.
You're going to get like a Miata that has a soft top.
Yeah, definitely a soft top Miata. I'm a real convertible guy. A sunshine guy too. I'm definitely not getting pieces of my face cut off from.
I could see a hoop earring on you.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what the style is at the time. I just want to fit in with the kids at that point.
Right.
I can't predict what 2041 will
Thankfully,
look like.
you won't be able to grow any facial hair still. So no flavor saver,
no
beard,
goatee. No beard to like hide my age. I will just be all drooped. Nothing to distract it. But yeah, so one thing we like to talk about on the show a lot is, or one thing that like amuses us a lot is how, and this kind of plays into social media, how like narcissistic the present generation always is. Like the present generation, this one, last two, whatever, current three in particular, are always like, oh, what's happening to us is so unique. It's never happened before.
It's always the end of the world.
We're dealing with stuff. Yeah. Oh, every generation thinks it's the end of the world. If you go look like through any time in the Middle Ages, every single generation was like, oh, Jesus is coming in like 6 years. Don't you know that? Like the world is going to end. Like the Turks are about to take Vienna. The world is over.
Right.
Why even try?
Right.
Let's just kind of kick back, see what happens.
But what's funny when you even like go through history at like a cursory glance, which is all we do. This is softcore history. It's not hardcore history.
Thank God.
Is you find very quickly that, as we like to say, shit don't change.
Right.
And there's always a comp. Like there's always a situation where it's like, oh, people have gone through nearly this exact thing before. Like a good one with right now, everyone's kind of freaking out about AI, which is not wrong, but it's the same type of stuff you heard not only during the Industrial Revolution when things were getting automated, but also even like when writing was invented. People were like, oh, people's brains won't work anymore because they're writing things down. They don't have to remember anything.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. They were like, oh, writing is going to ruin the human brain.
Wow.
Or video games are ruining the youth. They used to be reading books.
Which we are going to talk about today. God damn it. But yeah. Spoiler, I guess.
The
novel panic. We'll get to that. That's probably the funniest thing.
We're so synced up right now.
We're just, we're locked in.
It's really nice to see.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good. Two brains.
So
this is actually produced. It's an AI podcast. Neither of us are here.
And you guys are robots.
Yeah.
And this is fun.
So one thing I assume you dealt with when you were writing it and even just thinking about it before you wrote your book or anything like that is how relatively unique social media was. I'm sure you had this thought, humans aren't equipped for this sort of thing, this much information.
Absolutely.
Like it's not our monkey brains, like our literal monkey brains,
right?
Are not. We just walked out of the forest,
right?
In terms of on a geological time scale, we just fucking walked out of the forest,
right?
And now we have like a blue light in front of us, giving us more information than some human beings would consume for their entire lives 800 years ago.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's none of what I just said is wrong, But what's fucked up is
Bro,
that
you weren't in Atlantis 15,000 years ago.
I don't know what they were doing.
You weren't in the 5D. You don't know.
I don't know where the Atlanteans
great civilization fell. They were better than us. And we will repeat the history if we don't change our ways.
That's what we're doing here. We're changing the world slowly, but surely. So, social media, certainly unique, but it is actually obviously not, the first time that I guess what you would call like democratized, widespread information by the people, for the people, has happened. This is actually something that we touched on a little bit on your episode about that island a week or two ago, the High Brazil.
High Brazil, yeah. On Patreon.
This is actually what is affecting people. Certain things that are affecting people on social media is actually as old as the printing press itself.
Right, I was thinking about that.
So in 1440,
I always think about it.
Yeah,
the printing press.
I was just thinking newspapers.
Yeah,
pops into my mind daily.
Even before newspapers. In fact, newspapers are, even though newspapers have been like dog shit through most of human history, we did a great episode on that a couple years ago about how people today are like, oh, the media's terrible. And we're like, no, the media's actually always been terrible.
It's always been a rag.
There's like a 30-year window with like Walter Cronkite where it was like stuffy and nice.
Right.
But for the most part, it's just been rags.
Dude.
Like it really we're actually just getting back to normal.
Here's you thinking Cronkite wasn't a psyop.
But as soon as Gutenberg invented the printing press, the first form of social media almost immediately took hold. And it was arguably, and only because we've had enough time, hilariously more destructive than current social media. The invention of the printing press directly led to something called the pamphlet craze. So pamphlets are essentially analog Twitter.
Love me a good pamphlet.
Yes. Keep going. But I feel like I remember this in history class.
Yeah, so Gutenberg invents the printing press.
Yeah.
And it gets spread around, and it's it's a bitch technically, but way easier than it ever was before.
Right.
And so immediately what happens
That's how the gossip spreads, though. I remember Hamilton, when they found out that he was cheating on his wife.
Pamphlets for centuries. Now, eventually people got used to it and they stopped like freaking out about it. But the first 200 years, especially, pamphlets were like they were actually like new. There was nothing like this before pamphlets came about, where basically anyone could go to ye old printer who will take your money no matter what. Like, here, buy this cheap paper, print whatever fucking crockpot ideas.
Then you had to respond with your own pamphlet. It was almost like a diss track.
It was tweeting. It was essentially tweeting.
It was Twitter,
much more of a Twitter analog,
or it was
than
like
an
a rap
Instagram
beef.
analog.
Right.
But it was like that on Instagram too, because a lot of people, Instagram is not just like, oh, look at my beautiful vacation. People will share information, whether it be like health or political or blah 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 blah.
That is not Twitter. Yeah. Twitter's for dunking on people. It's like I hate you. I hate your opinion. You're the opposition. I need to embarrass you.
Yeah,
that's what Twitter's for now,
and that's what pamphlets were kind of always for. So I wrote this dramatically, so I'm just going to read it verbatim.
Okay.
One could say that Johannes Gutenberg's preferred ink to print in was blood. A lot of deaths came from this. Gutenberg's invention enabled cheap pamphlets. Pamphlets flooded throughout all of Europe in every Western, northern country. Spread ideas, gossip, propaganda, blah, blah, blah. The normal shit you see on social media now. And people were obsessed with it because it was written very colloquially, like it wasn't like the formal version of the language or Latin, which was a big thing at the time. It was just whatever shitty version of German or English they spoke. They could read it. It was on their level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had the Eli Whitney effect where he thought it would make the world a better place.
And it made it, he was like, the Eli Whitney was like, I'm going to invent the cotton gin. And that's going to like end slavery because we got this machine to do it. And then it somehow just made it much worse because they were like, we need more people to get the cotton because this cotton gin's so fucking good at de-seeding the cotton. Poor guy had his heart in the right place.
Right.
But it didn't go as planned. I don't even know that Gutenberg had a heart in the right place. He was just like, I invented this. Here you go. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
But because the only thing God loves more than his children is irony, what happened with this first social media, and one of the worst things about social media now is cancel mobs are a thing, right? Like people just pile on. And,
not anymore, dude. We're so back.
Yeah, all this stuff. If you get shit on for not being pure enough in whatever group you're in, no matter what it is, right?
Right.
What are you on Blue Sky right now?
Oh, I can't even. I haven't even. I'm not doing another app. Like I'm not social media detox, but I'm not getting a fucking another one.
No,
that's what I
done.
felt about.
I was like, please
We're
make
done.
TikTok illegal.
No, that's what I felt with TikTok. I'm
Yeah.
just like, as soon as it started, I'm like, no, I've done all the social media that I need to do.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
too good.
adopting new
TikTok
ones.
is too good.
You go down a T-hole.
They know
pretty
you
quick.
better than they know me better than I know myself.
There are times I'll just think about something.
Yeah.
And it'll come up.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I will say it has changed recently. I don't feel like it's the same. Like I'm not seeing the same stuff
Are they
I
trying
used
to be
see.
more benevolent? Because they're still like,
no,
it's in a holding pattern. Trump
algorithm's
he
weird
put it
now.
off, but
Yeah.
it's not. It could still be made illegal, and there are a lot of people in both parties that do not want it here. So my personal assumption is that it's probably going to be gone.
Yeah, who knows?
That would be my. I hope it does. I just don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
I like reels too.
Do you think you just can't you can't produce a good TikTok? Is that why you're not?
That's probably it. Yeah. I'm not.
We haven't figured
We
out
have
the
no
algorithm.
traction on TikTok.
Yeah.
The youngs hate us. We really don't.
All you guys need is a few viral clips and you're good.
I know, right?
We've
We're
had
not-
a
I'm
couple.
saying that like I've done that. I haven't done that.
It's all for
Have
the
you
wrong
not? No?
reasons.
Well, some comedy stuff has.
Okay.
Yeah, some stand-up stuff, but haven't gotten into.
They hate podcast clips.
Really?
All the social media platforms hate podcasts. As soon as they see a microphone in front of your face, like, no, absolutely not. Like maybe if there's a famous person on there,
Yeah.
but like if it's just us two,
Yeah.
I think we like maxed out at like 10,000.
Well, I need to do is pop top and just steal every workout from bodybuilding.com
Yeah.
and then just repost it as my own.
I would
That's a
say
good
get
idea.
on the Actually, you were a fitness instructor too, I think, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can he do to?
You should start jumping on a trampoline.
I love a trampoline.
Yeah.
Love a
Great
good trampoline.
workout. Not enough people are doing it online. Really good for your
Maybe I'll get
lymphatic
into the
system.
slam ball. Bring back my basketball career.
That's a good idea. You can make it competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to watch someone in slam ball shoot threes.
I'm gonna change the game. I'm gonna be the Steph Curry of slam ball.
Just no dunking. Just all threes from a trampoline 80 feet away.
I would do that in NBA Jam, the old school game.
Yeah.
People, it would infuriate every college roommate I had. Like, you can't shoot threes in Jam.
Like, no, I'm just doing that. So here's the funny thing about the pamphlet craze.
Yeah.
Is so like I said, you know, there's cancel mobs going on and all this stuff. What do we call that? What's a term for that? A witch hunt, right? You get
Right.
witch hunted on social media. Or
Yeah.
like they want to look for you, whatever. The pamphlet craze literally created witch hunts.
No. Really?
Yeah, that the direct result of the printing press was witch hunts. The witch hunt explosion in Europe happened as soon as pamphlets started being printed over the course of the next 300 years. There are no Salem witch trials without the pamphlet craze. There are no whatever the other witch trials in England were that I forgot the name of, or in
Everywhere
Germany.
in Europe.
Literally everywhere in Europe. Pamphlets,
I think Germany one year burned like 900 witches.
yeah.
And witches were just people, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like
we don't know
that's
that.
Crazy.
We don't know how many real witches we got. I think it was
Yeah.
mostly people.
But I think we got a few just by the sheer numbers. We got a couple
One would
witches.
have to think. It seems outrageous
You
to
would
say we got no
hope.
witches.
Yeah, you would hope at that point because that's bad.
There's got to be one.
Oh my god.
So one of the things pamphlets did, so pamphlets, again, they were for the common people. And this is the type of thing where, like, I normally am very, like, yeah, like, liberty, by the people, for the people. Like, everyone deserves a voice. And then you read something like this and you're just like, oh, man, I might be really classist after reading this. Like, this is awful. Because,
You always feel that way.
yeah.
You just stare at me
Because
during the
as soon
day
as-
and you're like,
They essentially, all these pamphlets did was appeal to the lowest common denominator and what gets people excited, right? Dark shit, sexual shit,
Conspiracy
murder,
theories.
conspiracy theories,
Witches.
witches, and that shit played immediately. Not only that, now witches were already a thing, right? Like witches,
Yeah.
people thought witches, but it was mostly held to clergy and sort of like anyone running a city or running a country or a church or whatever.
Yeah.
It was mostly held, like, kept to them. They had knowledge of what a witch might be. And, witch trials didn't start with pamphlets, but they exploded with pamphlets because they essentially told everyone about what witches were, and very much
what they were just describing a woman.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
But like a single woman.
A single woman with the hat on.
A cat and a hat.
It was really hard to get a divorce back then, so it was much easier to just say that it was a witch.
Yeah. Be like, dude, Teague's such a bitch. She might be a witch.
She's probably a witch, and I'm going to put it in the printing press.
She's poisoning my food.
Yeah, I'm
going to make a pamphlet about it.
Yeah, you tell some guy like you're not interested at the pub, and he takes 2 cents to the printing press the next day, and
says I'm a witch.
Yeah, he saw you pet a cat. Five other people saw you pet that cat too on the way out of the pub. You're out of luck.
That is a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Wow.
We still have those, technically. There's female Facebook pages for dating apps. It's like, are we dating the same guy?
Oh, my God. My favorite. Have you guys seen them?
I have not. What?
Oh, it's so good. You've never heard of this, Rob?
No.
Girls will just post you regardless, whether or not you're an honorable man or not.
If you got nothing to hide, man.
That's fine, but they'll talk shit.
Girls will post like a picture of a guy on that maybe they matched with or maybe they've gone on some dates with on the like, are we dating the same guy? And like each city has their own.
Mm-hmm.
So like LA has a big one, and like they'll be like, hey, I went on a few dates with this guy. Like I think things are getting serious. Just want to make sure he's not taken.
What's
and like
his deal?
four girls in the comments will be like, I know that guy. Like I'm dating him too, or like whatever. And like that's how it like and that's how it goes down.
Some of these girls are pot
It's the
stirrers.
printing
They don't
press.
even talk to that man.
It's the pamphlets.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are bots. Some of them are just trying to stir up some trouble.
Or just like troll. Yeah, they're just like, yeah, I know him.
I know him.
I
He
got
was
a
at
kid
my
with
house
it.
last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
We've been dating for 4 years.
Yeah, it's
and
like
then-
Maury, but like on Facebook.
Perfect.
So.
Yeah. Take out any producers or even like whatever minimal fact checking Maury did.
Yeah.
And it's just by a committee.
Yeah.
By a committee of
And why would this stranger lie?
people.
Yeah.
Why? Why would they lie? I'm going to take her word for it.
It's just funny, I guess. They just
No, that's
people
what I'm
just like
saying.
to throw dynamite into a pond.
Every
know?
girl
Right.
that posts there and she gets responses is just going to immediately trust whatever that girl says.
Yeah, it is weird. Have you been posted?
I've never been posted, but I've had.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well,
are
actually,
you
I
sure?
don't know, but
Yeah, 'cause
I
maybe
know
you
of the
have, man.
groups.
What was man? There was a fucking thing when we worked at TFM.
I also have.
So you were probably in college. There was a app that literally just rated men. Like all men were on it.
Yeah.
And it was like
I remember
everything
Yeah.
from like nice, good in bed. Like there was like a star. Like I think it was like out of 10.
Lulu.
star.
It wasn't Lulu.
Was it Lulu?
I think it was called like Lulu.
I remember hearing about it, but I never actually saw it in practice.
Oh,
I was actually posted on that.
I was too. All
How
the
did
girls
you
that-
guys do? What was your
I
rating?
did okay.
I had a good rating,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did all right.
Wow.
Because all the
Aw.
girls that worked at Total Sorority Move were like, we're trotting all your shit out in front of everyone right now just to like shame us in the office. And I was like, wee.
But this was happening when I was in
Wow.
college. When we were in school, they had Lulu, and I just had all my female friends just like hype me up.
Yeah, I think it was Lulu.
Wow.
And it was like
That feels illegal.
hyper invasive.
Yeah, that feels wrong, and like you could probably sue
Yeah.
someone for defamation.
I mean,
the app doesn't exist anymore.
There was Collegiate
Yeah.
ACB. There was Yik Yak. There was all these apps where you could just talk shit anonymously.
Like hyper anonymously. Yik Yak
Wow.
was mean.
I don't remember
was so
Yik Yak. Was that like Reddit?
Actually, you know what's weird is that Yik Yak wasn't big at Mizzou. There was that one that was just at Mizzou that was really big.
Was it Collegiate ACB?
It was like Rounder or something like that, or I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
It was a Mizzou kid invented it.
Oh.
And like a bunch. I remember like I knew guys that were still in school, and they were like, "Yeah, we use this for everything." I was like, "What the fuck is this app?"
Wow.
Um,
A school specific
yeah,
chat bot? Wow.
yeah, it was very odd.
A lot of it though was Greek life just talking shit on each other.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, which was nice until
Fun.
Like these fucking houses are a bunch of squids.
I remember one time I just started dating this girl, and a thread came up on whatever Mizzou's version of that was, and it was like, "Who are the ugliest couples in Greektown?" And someone put our names on there.
No!
I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my God, the pamphlets.
I know.
They got you again.
Those fucking pamphleteers.
Damn,
I was-
that's
That
bad.
bummed me out for like a day. Because I never shit you
That's
and talk.
really upsetting. Like,
It's
who would
not-
do that? Who would
it's-
do that?
Right?
Sometimes you have ops and you just don't know. And like on an app like that, you will find out quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm getting you and Courtney for the baby shower.
What a printout of that.
Couple shirts. Ugliest couple at
It
Mizzou.
wasn't Courtney. So we didn't date at Mizzou. So.
Still
It
applies.
was Courtney's.
Both went.
It's Courtney's sorority sister, but it wasn't Courtney. So it was.
I'm sure that's a fun conversation to have with your wife.
She doesn't care.
Okay.
I married her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we didn't like cheat or anything. We met, it was like years later. It was a lot of Kappa Gamma drama.
Oh my God, she was a Kappa?
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
What?
KKG.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a Mizzou Kappa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ugh, I like her already.
At my school, they're the Krispy Kreme girls.
Krispy Kreme girls?
Yeah, they're bigger.
Now, that's rude.
I know. I'm not saying it's
Did
not.
you write that on your pamphlet?
But it was probably on the Collegiate ACB website, yeah.
Wow. You would have gotten some downvotes for saying that.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just reporting the truth.
Krispy Kreme girls. You know what? Honestly, that's a fun group to be, though. Even if you're the Krispy Kreme girls, that sounds like they have a good time.
Right?
Yeah, they were fun.
I think it was just Kappa Grandma.
Oh, Kappa Grandma was, and you know what? I wore that proudly. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? We are all overachievers and we like work hard.
Right.
Modest.
And like fairly like modest. Yeah, like fairly chill. Like not, you're not like just blasting lines of cocaine on the bar at Big 12 or doing all kinds of insane shit.
That was not the vibe.
Yeah. No, it was not at all. Yeah.
It's fun.
Probably opposite that vibe.
There was no reason for us to throw stones from our glass house either. We were Fiji at UCF was a bunch of goobs. Shouts to all my brothers listening right now. I appreciate you.
So one of the big things about this pamphlet that helped the witch trials explode was that it kind of standardized what to look for in a witch, right?
Okay.
So in much the same way, I guess people might be annoyed at social media, Instagram in particular, TikTok probably too, for maybe like this goes back to magazines though, even, but like standardizing beauty or whatever.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Kind of like the trends get really narrow and stuff like that.
Right. And people's waistlines.
Yeah, this standardized witches. So everyone knew what a fucking witch was.
Wow.
And boy, were they excited to go hunting for them.
I do have a question before we move on.
Yeah.
Was there any sort of men that were being accused of being witches, or was there a version of a man?
You ever read The Crucible?
Witch. No.
Yes.
The main character in The Crucible is a man that is accused of being a witch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So
okay,
actually,
I was just wondering.
John Proctor, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
This is actually not in my notes, but I did read this, so I'm glad I remembered it. A lot of the female witch stereotype is mostly confined to the Anglo world.
Okay.
So like English, like England, and then all Dutch is kind of like Anglo adjacent, and so like England, the Netherlands, and there's one other country I forgot what it was, where it was like 90% women being accused and stuff like that. However, France was pretty 50-50. Eastern Europe was mostly men.
Oh.
I think Germany might have been pretty 50-50 too. But we, because it's our culture, have an especially, and because we did mostly persecute women, like our specific, like sort of sphere of culture back then.
Right.
That's why it sticks with us. More
Although
so than with others.
our favorite witch from the Salem witch trials was an old man that got crushed to death by rocks.
Yeah, so most witches in the Salem witch trials got hanged, but there was one man who was the husband of a witch who I think had already been executed. I'm not sure. She definitely did get executed.
So he's a
and
wizard.
They were like, "You're a witch too, aren't you, buddy?" And he was like, "He's just old and crotchety," and he's
not old.
He's like, "No," and they're like, "Just admit it so we can hang you." And he was, and like it'll be a peaceful-ish death. And they're like, he's like, "I'm not a witch."
So every time he denied it, they put another rock on him.
And he was eventually crushed to death. But he was just too old and angry to admit it. Well, because he wasn't. And he was like, "I'm not admitting this. Fuck you guys."
He was the most metal man of all time, actually.
It's so crazy because like none of them were witches. These
none.
were normal people.
We
like
don't
that we were
know
just
that.
like you're a witch.
There's no way to prove that.
Like that's insane. Do you think we could get to like that type of stuff today?
Yes.
But what would it be? People
who
are.
even knows? Maybe eventually when AI gets better, you just accuse
It's
someone
like
of
being a robot.
Yeah.
You're a robot.
You're synth. You're synthetic.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
There's that, but there's also you're going to be able to just create video evidence that isn't real.
Right.
Like, look
of
what Rob
crimes.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob killed all those dogs. They'll be like,
Slaughtered
I
them.
wasn't even near a dog today. Like, yeah, he did.
What a crazy world it would be, and it probably will be at some point, where like it's really difficult to tell what's real and what's not. I mean, even now, like Instagram, like there are like influencers, like hot
AI,
influencers that are AI, like, and they look real.
Well, check it out.
You can tell.
That
Now.
same fucking thing was happening then. Because
Wow, I love this podcast.
they would put a lot of times for the witches, these dum-dums wouldn't even read. Even though I was actually shocked to learn that the literacy rate in England in 1630 was like 70%. I would not have guessed north
But back
of
to your
50.
point, though, there's AI influencers now that have OnlyFans.
How? What are they doing on the OnlyFans?
A dude just makes
just OnlyFans
images.
stuff, I guess.
Just makes fake images and
Just images?
collects money. There's like big AI accounts. It's weird. I don't understand why you would follow it.
I respect that.
No.
That is just ethically sourced pornography.
That's a dude that's hustling.
I mean, that is ethically sourced.
What? Who's getting hurt?
Nobody.
Yeah, just the idiots.
Except all the women in the world that are now being compared to a robot. But that's fine. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Or being replaced. Like, I don't know if you guys, I don't want to tangent too much, but have you guys seen the stories about men who have started dating these like chatbots?
Oh, yeah.
Or like or getting in relationships, physical relationships with like actual robots?
The movie Her
What do
was
you
a
mean,
decade ago.
Physical relationships,
they have a love
intimate
doll?
relationships
Yeah.
with physical robots.
Yeah.
I mean,
So like it's like
It's
replacing
coming.
people,
yeah.
which I don't,
That's
whatever.
the globalist
Some
agenda.
of those guys can date a robot.
At what point? I don't want to get too. I don't know how like X-rated your sense of humor is, but at what point would
Let's see.
if you let's say
dip
you're
a toe.
married, and you walk in on your husband, and he's with a robot, but it's a machine. Like what point is like fleshlight versus like, hello, my name is Helen, I am a robot.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, in a way, it's not even that offensive because it's like, well, we can put her in the closet. Like,
Right.
it doesn't really, she's
Right.
not really doing much.
I think they're making robots now too that have to consent, which seems to defeat the
Okay.
purpose.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that just like for their own
Just
moral
for like,
thing?
yeah, I guess it's just for like
Just so
them to
they
be
feel
like, we're not
better?
going to totally mess up everybody, right?
Right.
We're going to make sure they know how to ask still.
Now, what if you do? What do you do when you put the robot in the closet and you can clearly hear it dreaming in the middle of the night?
Now that would be a problem. I think I burn the house down. I think that's when I move to another country
Yeah.
and burn the house down.
Yeah, you can't stay where that robot is at that point.
No.
They'll be
Or
in
if
that
the
country,
husband starts
too.
choosing the robot over you, I think that would be
Yeah, it's like I just feel
a
the
line
robot
in the
tonight.
sand.
It's kind of a
Like-
thing now, right? Dudes just kind of choose porn over their wives.
Wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
No.
But that is a big problem, I think, with a lot of relationships. Dudes get too addicted to porn. Just their wife is like, hey, maybe later we'll.
There's a lady right there.
I know. But if their wife's just not into them, there's like, fine, I'll just go to the shower.
That's grim.
It's very grim.
That's grim, but I do feel like that's been happening for a long time.
It's getting progressively worse.
yeah, I mean,
though.
You
laptops
think?
are.
I mean, I have said like I feel like guys are just not even dating girls anymore. Like a lot of guys in LA like don't even feel the need to go out because they have all these things at their fingertips. Like they can just go home,
lift weights,
feel entertained,
play video games.
Right.
and then
repeat.
go to bed. Like and feel like they have some sort of connection with something. So yeah,
The dating scene feels very grim in a lot of ways. Like I'm not
Yeah.
in it obviously, but I'll like talk to friends who are still single and stuff like that. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, good lord.
it's bad because we all know that we have these these apps that it's like if one thing goes wrong, you're like, well, I got a few
Very
other
easy to
connections I can
replace.
hit up
Yeah.
later.
Was that part of your book too? The dating apps?
Part of the book is getting off of dating apps, but I
Okay.
don't really dive into it too much just because
Its own
I
thing,
wanted
yeah.
to keep it, kind of more like you could kind of apply this to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a problem. I mean,
It feels. I was only on it like a little bit. Like I started dating Corey in 2015, so I was on Tinder for probably like 3-4 years. Hinge Tinder like 2-3 years, 3-4 years, something like that.
okay.
And it was just like, no, I didn't. I never even liked it. Like I did better like at a bar.
Right. That's what you want,
Right.
Literally, yeah.
But now nobody can have a social conversation in a bar. That's the problem.
Correct.
So they have to use the apps.
The
because,
easiest
like,
way though on the apps though is
we don't know how to do that anymore.
you have to act unhinged. Like you stick out.
Okay, now you gotta explain what you mean.
Act like you're almost a sociopath.
What's the line you would?
I feel like
We're
that
like
is
schizophrenic.
you could go either way.
I always had like the most success on apps because I always had like weird, crazy, funny answers.
Okay.
And I feel like that just sticks out compared to what's on the apps 99% of the time.
I mean, I guess it's
That's
better than
true.
like, haha, I don't know, like pizza sweet.
pizza in
Yeah.
the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys have to be more creative. Girls can just be like, I like a spa day.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
You're like, I love you.
Yeah.
Would you like dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But guys do have to get creative. I agree. Being funny on the apps is a huge key.
So, fun stat.
Yeah.
These pamphlets, led to 100 to 200,000 people being officially tried as witches over the course of like 200-300-ish years. And by tried, I mean
killed.
No. Those are just tried.
Okay.
But if you were tried, you were tortured. That's how they got any confession. Basically, was torture, or at least threat of torture. Like they'll start heating up the iron and being like, "You a witch? Are you? It's coming."
So, but how do they actually decide? Because again, as we've discussed, it's really just a human. So how do they distinguish?
They don't care. So at some point, you know how like you hear now, like
look in your eye.
Or here's a great example. You know, police will have speeding ticket quotas.
Right.
You got witch quotas. You know, you got to find a witch. Someone told you, the bishop told you to find a witch. You go find a witch.
Right.
Like shit rolls downhill, lady. I'm sorry. Like you're on fire or I'm on fire.
You're a little too ugly for this town. Sorry, you got to go.
You were a little mean to that guy who I agree sucks, but he reported you.
And
here we are.
Nasty pamphlet going around, and we're sorry.
You're a woman, and
that's it.
Yeah.
You know, time's not great for you.
But what's crazy, so back to the AI thing. So a lot of these dum-dums, even though they could read, still were most enchanted or convinced by the, a lot of it would be called wood cuttings, because essentially you would draw it on the wood, ink, paper, right? So it's wood cutting. And it would be, let me just find like a witch wood cutting. It would be obviously the most dog shit drawing possible, but they would see it and be like, oh, I think that's Sarah.
No.
That looks exactly like Sarah.
No.
Here she is. Look at it. That's what Sarah looks like.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's definitely Sarah.
That's Sarah. So boom. Like, I mean, the pictures alone, they would see those pictures, and be like, oh my God, that happened. Look, how could you draw it if it didn't happen?
Oh my gosh.
All thanks to this brand new, wonderful social media.
Yeah.
That created witch hunts and all kinds of other weird shit. There were some other fun ones, so I'll get to these before we get to the novel panic real quick, because there were some. I don't know if lighthearted's quite the right word, but like some pamphlets were more fun than
they
others.
were. Did they have parties? Did they?
There was like
spread word on that.
So there was one like meme pamphlet that I really enjoyed. That it sounds like memes basically.
Okay.
It's called The 15 Joys of Marriage. Again, to just show you how much like social media this was. So imagine, you know, like today people make a caption or they make a meme. Like a meme in particular is almost like it's dry and it means the opposite of what it says type of thing.
Yeah.
So The 15 Joys of Marriage was the late 1400s. It was in France. And it was a sarcastic guide to how great being married was, essentially. And this was mind-blowing humor at the time.
That's funny.
And we know the French value marriage.
Yeah, right. I know, right? They were like, oh, the joys of marriage include like the wife cheating on you with the town priest, or the fact that your husband is impotent. These are all the joys of like the
that's hilarious.
Sarcastic joys of marriage.
So they were funny.
Yeah, exactly. They were fun, or like also stuff that like either the husband or the wife was like bad in bed, all kinds of stuff like that. So there was like there were also like meme pamphlets essentially.
I didn't think people were funny back then.
Right?
Like that's pretty hilarious.
This is the thing. Like we always underestimate people in the past,
right?
Which we talk about all the time. It's like, but it's always these people.
They had nothing else going on. They had to be funny,
right?
You have to keep yourself entertained.
Yeah. There were also other ones like the Ship of Fools, which was made in 1494. It was also sort of a meme situation. It basically was like a boat full of morons, and every moron was essentially like a different type of person who lived in your city, essentially like a drunk, corrupt priest who was like hooking up with a nun, and they would make fun of like town idiots eating shoes or fighting pigs, whatever they thought was funny, I guess. But it's another meme. It was like a meme pamphlet.
That's hilarious.
So it wasn't all terrible, even though 60,000 women, or 60,000 people, I should say, probably mostly women, but 60,000 people were executed across Europe thanks to their first version of social media.
Wow. I'm actually surprised it didn't start a war.
It probably did. It almost certainly did, because they were also super political and stuff like that. And what was interesting with these pamphlets, much like Twitter in particular, but I think Instagram too, you could take this at this point, is that it would, the royal courts and the kings and stuff like that, it would put pressure on them, because they'd be like, dude, people are eating this fucking pamphlet up about how the Germans are assholes. and we might need to do like the people keep reading these pamphlets, and either they had two choices. It was go arrest the pamphleteer and put him in jail so that they don't have to go do something they didn't want to do, or cave in basically and go, do whatever political thing they had to do,
right?
Because the people were eating up these like essentially shitty Twitter threads,
right?
You know what I mean? Or
wow.
like,
I'm sorry, you advocating for censorship?
Kinda. After like doing research on this again, it's just like, I don't know if we can be trusted.
Right. I mean, it looks like a slippery slope. People were being accused of being witches.
Right.
How could that feels like something that could happen again?
Yeah, like you said, like a new version, like, oh, you're a bot or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny is, though, they got a handle on it after like 300 years. They figured it out.
Yeah.
They kind of, but pamphlets were still basically up until, I would say probably like, we'll call it post-Civil War.
Like, what do we think? Like newspapers replaced it?
Yeah, I think pamphlets were still really big in the lead up to like the U.S. Civil War. Like it was a way for people. It's like they were like a combination of like having your own Twitter or having a blog or something like that.
Right.
It was your way to get information out, whatever fucking crackpot information you had.
Yeah.
Actually, our episode Lincoln's favorite hate read.
Mm-hmm.
There was this guy who in the U.S. Pre-Civil War, who Lincoln had lost his congressional seat in the 1840s and was pretty dejected about it and was like, I don't know if I'm going to go back into politics. Like I don't know, it just sucks. I lost. This blows. And this guy was just like a lunatic in the South somewhere. And he was like, not only do I love slavery, we need more slaves. And not only do we need more, he's like, I'm not even just talking about black people. I think that most people should be slaves.
The Irish,
like
can get
white,
it. The Italians,
black, Irish, whatever.
Welcome to corporate America.
So Lincoln read this and he was like, God damn it. And it got him back into politics.
Wow.
Like he hate read it. But this guy was essentially self-publishing, I would say somewhere in between a blog and akin to your self-published book type of situation. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would say like kind of a hodgepodge of that.
Wow.
And it pamphlets were really, really, really big up until I think newspapers really got industrialized post-Civil War and became kind of so big and so cheap and so prevalent that pamphlets were not quite what they were.
Do you know how were people getting them? Were they just blowing in the wind and people were snatching them from the air?
They would sell them on the street corner.
Okay, they're selling them.
They would
so
either sell them or
them.
they would post they would
like
sell
on
them. But you sell one and like 8 people go to read it. There's circulation and then there's secondary circulation.
Okay.
But if it was a really big situation, like if people really wanted their shit out there,
they're putting it up on
they just put it
windows.
Up on a wall. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Interesting.
So another one was the pamphlet was the Devil's Bagpipes. That would show this was anti-Catholic. We're both Catholic, so we love anti-Catholic.
Me too.
Oh, we love anti-Catholics. That's the funniest thing in the world. Like just people thinking the Pope is a wizard, basically.
Yeah.
Ever since Vatican II, yes.
Yeah. It would have like the Pope and monks playing bagpipes that like poop was coming out of, so people weren't exact. Everyone loved poop jokes back then.
Also, by the way, is Frankie dead?
No, he's still alive.
He's still kicking?
Pope Frank's still alive for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited for a conclave.
So the other thing, there was a second social media panic of sorts.
Okay.
And it came about 200 years after the pamphlet craze.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably more, I think, akin in some ways to what your book deals with in that people get very lost in social media, right?
Yeah.
I did date this one girl right before Courtney who I was like the only dude she never posted about.
What?
Like in terms of like every other guy she dated, including her current husband, this bitch, who she would post about constantly. Like, oh, it's just so great, it's just special. And then like I was like, I didn't know it at the time because I didn't really pay attention. But like looking back now, I'm like, boy, I don't think I ever got a post like this.
Yeah, because you're half of the ugliest couple at Mizzou.
Yeah.
You're dragging her down, dude. The engagement's gonna tank.
But no, that is the big problem with social media is a lot of these, like, I mean, all of us, it feels like a sense of community, right? It feels like you're connected to something. It feels like you're like a part of something. It feels like you're up to date. It feels like you're informed, but like it's fake. It's not real. So like you're not having these actual interactions. So it just like, builds that like social isolation.
Literally
want
not
that,
who the human being is.
You want the sweet, sweet dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Just give it to me.
I will say, for people who don't know this, like whenever I post stuff to social media, it does well. Like right now, I'm reposting a bunch of old TFM stuff. Boy, like as much as you get lost in scrolling, when you get that little red bubble up on Instagram full of likes and that is straight heroin. Like,
you know what's crazy about that is I just learned that they delay your likes. So that when you're posting, you're like waiting for people to like it, and you'll get maybe like 20 right when you post, but they'll hold them back, and then they'll like sporadically give them to you. So you keep checking and seeing like where they're likes, who's liking it.
Diabolical.
It's crazy.
It's not good.
It's bad.
It's not great.
It does feel amazing though. Oh my God, to get likes, get real likes.
That red bubble, the
nothing
shares.
better. Nothing better.
When that little triangle's just like 400 or something like that.
Incredible. Nothing like it.
You're like, I'm a god.
Yeah.
Why am I not famous already? Like this is
right, and you are basically.
Yeah, because people were 8 people shared my thing.
And that's huge.
Fucking
yeah, wait till I go back to the high school reunion.
Right.
The first guy I see is just like, yeah, your Instagram's fucking gay.
Yep.
Like, all right. I went to all guys.
Like, who do you think you are, Dan?
On brand for. Yeah. Who the fuck do you think you are? I'm just like, no one. I'm gonna go talk to my like 3 friends. Please don't. No one else.
Like,
talk to me.
I'm embarrassed about this too. Don't worry.
Like, trust me. As much as you hate it, I hate it so much more.
But you love it though.
Love it. Hate it. So it's like self-loathing that you just can't stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have that where you were just like, I know I suck, but I gotta just keep doing this?
Yeah.
Like you hit a point where you're like, I hate this, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. You mean like posting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Because for a while it's fun.
Because for a while it's fun. Because you're like getting what you want.
Yeah.
Right?
And
you're
you
getting
do
likes,
cool stuff
and
too.
Getting...
Like you honestly, genuinely, even though I'm sure you needed the social media detox, like still you do things that most people don't do.
Yeah. What's crazy is like a lot of the photos I look at, I'm like, I was like not happy that day, you know?
Right,
but
right,
like
right.
you look like, you know, it's just like all fake, like all of it's fake. And
Yeah.
I feel like, the editing is a whole nother thing. Like I used to edit my photos like crazy. I'm surprised you even recognize me in person.
You're still blonde, so
Yeah.
That was the main thing. If
Like-
you had walked up brunette, I would have been like, "Do you need something, ma'am?"
Yeah.
This day really sucked, but damn, did I look good.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, it's all just such a mirage. So, but it's so easy to like forget that, obviously.
Especially as like you get further away from it. You're like, oh, maybe that was a good day. Picture looks great.
Picture looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? So the other thing after the pamphlet craze dies down was the novel reading panic of the 18th and 19th century. This is the funniest thing to me in the world because now, not wrongly either, but I don't know if you're an author, but do you read a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure I don't mean to sound like a dick or anything, but like I'm sure some of it is like garbage, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you read what's the dragon shit going around? Right, my wife reads it.
Oh, I am not reading it, but I know it is.
Right, she
The
reads a lot of
Fourth
like
Wing or whatever.
Yeah, she reads a lot of like fantasy porn, basically.
Yeah.
Like it's like romance novels and
Dragons.
fantasy settings.
I think my friend Shay is reading that on the recommendation of Scott Lopez, so it can't be too bad.
Sounds like Scott's recommendation.
Yeah.
But like a lot of it is just like kind of junky novel stuff, but it's like reading's great. You should read.
Oh my God, it's good for your brain, obviously.
Not according to these people.
So what did they think? My question is, what did they think was better? Talking? Like what was their...
So
and you say writing also wasn't
this was
good.
Novels. This is
Like-
pre-television, pre-radio, pre-social media, obviously.
Like fiction was bad. Is
Fiction.
that... They were
well,
just like
specifically this sort of low-class fiction.
Okay.
These were like, I guess, a later term for it would have been dime store novel.
Okay.
Type of situations. Paperbacks.
Okay.
Like low, like television, basically, almost. You know what I mean?
Got
Like
it. Okay.
TV
okay.
will rot your brain. Novels in the 18th and 19th century were a big moral panic, specifically for women, of course.
Obviously.
Can't have these ladies
Reading?
reading, and especially like smutty things.
No.
They're
They're gonna become witches again.
maybe. You don't know. So books like Samuel Richardson's Pamela or Rousseau's Julie, they sold like crazy. And unlike most books at the time, whether they're like religious texts or more like, I don't know, epic poems and shit, they weren't boring. They were like page turners, basically, right? Everyone from clerics to educators, doctors were like, this is fucking up people's brains, specifically women's brains. It's morally dangerous. It's a threat to social order. One 1790s British pamphlet. Even pamphlets didn't like the novels.
Of course they didn't.
Right, it's cutting into their business.
Yeah, it's a competition.
They moaned that servants neglected their spinning for novels. So essentially, like people weren't doing their chores.
Wow.
Jane Austen actually mocked this idea in one of her books, where she had like a novel-obsessed woman who thought everything was a murder plot because these books were like about murder and sex. It was like true crime is not the right word.
Stuff,
almost
yeah.
like almost more like SVU.
Okay.
Like a novel was like an SVU binge marathon.
Right. Yeah, that tracks. That makes sense. That's so crazy. Okay.
But they were like reading.
So what happened? Did they say, ladies, put those books away?
They did. Doctors had a lot of opinions. So I'm gonna get into some. I'm gonna get into some medical
had
opinions. Yeah. I'm gonna get into some really high level medical opinions.
Oh, please.
We did not respect doctors back then, though.
They still chimed in. They're like, a woman needs to be bled from the legs for 5 days if she reads more than 2 novels.
Like, I guess you're gonna have to take the doctor's word over a witch's word, but I mean,
they
seem kind
Dr.
of
Potato,
Witch,
level.
potato.
Yeah.
Tomato. In the 1700s, it's what, like George Washington died because the doctor was like, get more blood out of him. He's got too much blood in him.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
He was sick anyway, but but bleeding was like a medical. They're like, get the dirty blood out of him. Like he's got sick blood. You gotta let him live.
Logical.
Right.
People don't know this. The cherry tree got revenge. Chopped him down.
Yeah. So reading too much, according to doctors, inflamed the passions. It led to nervous disorders, hysteria, or even, my favorite, womb fever. It would make women's wombs too hot.
What? Reading?
Yeah.
This is from a medical professional.
Yeah. As much as you can call anyone.
Like too hot for a baby to survive, or just too hot?
Just too hot in general. It would create uncontrollable lust, according to doctors. Something called uterine furor.
And men were complaining about that?
Yeah, I know, right? Because it kept them out of marriage. They wanted too many.
Right, they couldn't even,
Too many
they were
floozies?
reading so much.
Yeah, it was either it made you too horny or it made you like a sick goblin who never left your room. Like
Right.
What they meant by curled up with a book back then was you just became like a golem, like a crooked golem, like reading your
Right.
Precious.
Yeah. Precious novel, yes. One German doctor in the 1790s said that he had a patient who had a miscarriage upon binge reading the Gothic romance novel Udolpho. The Gothic thrills shook her womb until the baby fell out too early.
Come on. Is that a direct quote?
Well, I said
Shook
he
the
didn't,
baby
it,
out?
shook her womb loose is a direct quote.
No! And people believed this?
People are like, my God,
You
yeah,
ne-
novels.
You can never shake a baby. They tell you this.
Yeah, you know, even in the womb.
Wow, that is hilarious.
So if you get on a trampoline, make sure there's not a baby in there
Right.
because
And don't bring a book.
don't read it. A book on a
Please don't
trampoline
read
is
Udolpho. Udolpho?
Udolpho.
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 I mean, if you're in a red state, maybe do that if you're looking for alternative options.
Yeah. If you're in Texas and get pregnant, trampoline and a novel will probably
Take care of business.
take care of that just fine.
Yeah.
A French doctor in 1789 argued that, now this might sound familiar, that novels like social media overstimulated the brain, led to exhaustion, and sent the brain in a frenzy, frying fragile nerves.
Can't be thinking too much.
Wow.
Can't be reading too
What
much.
do they want these women specifically to be doing? Kneading dough? Like,
Yeah,
what do
yes.
they want
Yes.
these women
Yes.
to be
In
doing?
In fact,
Kitchen,
one doctor
cleaning.
who had to novel detox a woman prescribed her chores.
Shut up. Shut up.
That's true.
Shut up. Stop using your brain. Please dumb it down, girly
Yeah,
pop.
please. This is
Go sweep some stuff.
there's a dusty floor over there that's calling your name.
No brain cells. No brain cells. Don't think.
Yeah. Now
Go
they
over
didn't
there.
like men reading it either, but it was women were the primary target audience for a lot of these.
Of course.
Right. And so that was where things really, because men, it seems that it seemed that with men it was almost like I think they thought it like self-regulated, that like just the nerds would get beat up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And maybe like it wasn't cool. Like maybe
it wasn't. You were supposed to be drinking and gambling, according to the research the light research I did. It's just like men would either you were a nerd and you didn't have any friends, so who fucking cares about you anyway?
Right.
Or your bros would eventually like shame you out of it and come back to
you stimulate the economy with your money, gambling, drinking,
and that's it.
And whoring.
And whoring if that's.
But I mean, if women pick up a book, there's a lot of things that aren't getting done.
Right.
So
they're not holding up their end of the bargain.
We don't want that to happen. Otherwise, we fall into chaos.
Right. Wow, this is crazy. I can't believe that this was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds kind of logical.
It does sound a little bit. It does sound a little bit like social media because in the beginning, I mean, now men. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I feel like more men are becoming addicted to their phones, whether it's like Reddit or some people. Some guys are addicted to like Pinterest, which I think is like hilarious because that's such a girly app.
First thing I've heard that.
Yeah,
that is. I tried.
Guys are because it's like curated like perfectly to what you wanted. It's like guys who are like looking at projects or like woodwork or whatever.
That would
like
make sense for crafty dudes.
Yeah, crafty dudes.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I feel like social media was mostly girls. Like mostly girls cared about the Instagram or like looking good or whatever, and they were the ones who were really. Especially you look at the teen girls, like they would
carry the digital camera out to the bars and then upload the photos to Instagram.
I was in college when Facebook went nationwide.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
you're old.
I'm old as balls. I turn 39 tomorrow. Okay, so.
Oh my God, birthday!
I know.
Jesus, you're 39.
I'm 30 fucking 9. Yeah, it's not great.
Holy shit.
It's still 30s. That's great.
Yeah, one more.
You're done, dude. Pack it up.
I'm just a dad now. That's why I'm like here. Like I'm gonna drink beers while I can.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go home and fall asleep next to my child as he falls asleep.
You're more than halfway through your life.
Okay. That's not true.
No, it's true.
So
that's not true.
All my grandparents.
He's not living to 80.
All my grandparents lived into their 90s.
Oh, see, he'll be fine.
So technically 6 more years till I hit the halfway point, probably. However, one grandparent did fall down and fall in his 80s. He only died from the fall, though.
The falls are what?
Yeah.
Are the big problem.
And I've actually had 2 grandparents die from falls. One was in their 90s, one was in their 80s, and he made it a couple more years, but the fall kind of fucked him up.
Oh, that's always what happens, yeah.
Yeah. So as long as I don't fall,
you got to stay light on your feet.
I should be good to go. I'm probably just go wheelchair at 50 to keep it safe.
That's a good call. Just take your feet off the ground.
Yeah.
But what he didn't mention...
I'm no athlete.
Lower the risk. I don't need these.
His one grandparent got really into rollerblading at 70.
We were like, Grandma, please stop.
She did?
No.
Oh, I was like, that's adorable. That's like a really cute hobby to take up at 70.
Right.
Wow.
Well, it doesn't end well.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Because she wouldn't wear a helmet. She didn't think it made her look cool. We were like, you're 70.
Yeah, but she had a social media presence.
And she was like, the helmet doesn't play.
It doesn't get likes.
Yeah. But no, so I was in college when Facebook started, and that was entirely female driven. Because to the point where I remember I got on Facebook specifically because I was trying to get a girl's number, and she was like, oh, just friend me on Facebook. I didn't have Facebook yet. And I was like, well, better get on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, immediately, that's it.
Wow. Yeah. No, that is how it started. And also, like, I feel like even in, like, Instagram, all these apps, like, really there is, like, a dating element weaved in.
100%.
You know?
And even when Twitter used to be, there was, like, a glorious minute when Twitter was, like, young and cool instead of, like, the cesspool it is now.
Twitter was the Wild West, though.
Dude, Twitter was a blast in 2012.
It was fun. It was funny.
It was really funny. And it was, like, all, like, everyone was, like, in their 20s or like, 18, basically. And it was, like, actually fun. Like, I remember that being where I would, like, interact with other people my age. And then that very quickly became more news and political and blah, blah.
Yes, but those people also grew up and became lame.
And became awful, yeah. I'm still sweet, so.
I'm the man.
And that's all that matters, you know? We've stayed cool.
Yeah. But, there was a progression, right? It went from AIM to MySpace.
Oh, my God, AIM was amazing.
To Facebook.
Yeah, you're right.
AIM, but AIM, though, too, was, like, the primary reason I wanted to use it was to talk to girls.
Yeah.
Like I would talk to my buddies on there too, but like it really was to like
Yeah.
like talk to girls, like because otherwise you only get to see them in school or whatever.
Isn't that funny? It really is like social media is like guys just are there to see girls and girls are there to impress girls.
Nah,
Yeah.
dude. Mine
Like
was
girls aren't there to get guys.
Mine was to put up a sweet away message.
What did
with
you
a
have
song
in your
lyric.
What did you have in your away message? Did you mention your friends
It
or
always
girlfriend?
changed. Be like, oh, dude.
Like an inspirational quote?
Like bored, hit up the cell, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Or just a song lyric that I was feeling. that I
What
was vibing to.
Dropkick Murphy's song lyric was in your fucking away message?
Shipping up to Boston, dude.
That's all it was ever. He's from Philly, so he's
Oh, Philly guy.
East Coast all the way. Although he went to UCF, so he's really a Florida man at heart.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That'll change you.
Yeah.
Time in Florida changes you.
Like as much as you like to rep Philly, you are.
I'm a Florida man.
You're Florida through and through.
Yeah.
I would.
He looks like he belongs in a tank
I would
top,
1,000% go back.
You do look like a Florida guy.
Mhm.
In a good way.
I definitely feel like I fit the profile more than Jake, becoming an oyster farmer.
Jake is a weird Florida guy though, because Jake's inland.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in like the middle of Florida.
He'll rebrand. He'll change
Oh, he's
his
an ocean
outfit.
guy now.
Yeah.
He actually, if you want a great,
He's yoked
if you
now.
ever, I don't know if you still do the fitness stuff at all, but boy, does oyster farming get you shredded.
Really?
Yeah,
My
he was kinda
God, he
pudgy.
lost like 30 pounds
Really?
immediately.
He was
Sure he's
pudgy
not
by
doing
the time he
HGH
left.
or something?
I'm
No.
positive.
Really?
He's got a
That
sweet
sounds like
tan
a
and
dramatic change
Yeah,
carries cages.
that come
because he was a bread boy. Like over COVID, he was like, I'm going to start making sourdough constantly.
Yeah.
And it showed. And
Okay.
then he hit the fucking oyster fields.
Hit the docks.
He's a goddamn Adonis now.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Good for
Lost
him.
too much weight in his face, though.
Oh, he's too skinny.
It's
in the
kinda
face,
frightening.
That's the problem.
I hope you're listening to this, Jake.
Yeah, I hope he is too.
That's hilarious.
He usually does, because sometimes he'll text us and be like, cool, thanks for talking shit on me on this random episode. Another thing that novel reading, a doctor said, now this might sound familiar, led to depression in teens.
Wow.
The highs and lows of the stories essentially were like essentially dopamine highs and lows.
Wow.
And it fucked them up. Oh, I mean, these are probably bullshit. The doctors
But I mean, I will say
but
there
it
are
sounds-
similarities.
Right?
I mean,
it sounds
right?
the exact goddamn same.
It does.
Also, it hurt their eyes. They had people got eye problems from reading novels. The print was small, so these were cheaply printed novels, right? So the print was as small as you could make it, where people could still read it.
Yeah.
And obviously, they were reading by candlelight. So even though candlelight, whatever, orange light is better than blue light, the fact that they had
Yeah.
low light reading, small print,
Squint.
not ideal.
Wow. This is crazy.
Yeah, but if you're like reading fantastic epics and your life is just going to the same job over and over and over again, I feel like it could fuck with your brain.
So a big problem with the novel reading that doctors and other people say is that it completely took people out of reality. They preferred to live inside of that world than inside of
If you're a peasant in the Middle
the
Ages,
real world. Well, it's the 1800s,
This
but yeah.
is so crazy. It's social media.
Right.
So yeah,
It's the this is why we always like to joke when people this is not to diminish. This is a great book. I'm
Yeah.
not diminishing what you did,
No,
but it is
totally.
always funny to me that people are just like, how this is so. I'm so, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of people. I think a lot of people might make that think it sounds diminishing, but to me, it's like, look, it happened before. People got through it.
Yeah.
You can do it too.
Right.
Type of thing.
Right.
Not just in the current, like, oh, it happened to someone 8 weeks ago and they got through it, but in fact, humans deal with this shit kind of constantly,
Yeah.
and they always get through it.
this is Rob arguing for a social credit score.
This is me arguing, I think, against actually people getting to make content as I talk into a podcast microphone that we don't pay for.
It is crazy though. That's a crazy thought. So what happened? Was there like some sort of detox from novel reading?
No, people just got over it.
People just got over it, and then TV came around.
And then
More
eventually
exciting
TV came around.
things.
So up until the 1860s, there was still a bit of a novel panic in the United States. We're always a little bit behind Europe in that way, I feel like. So that stuff was still blamed. Actually, all the way up until the 1920s, people really hated sort of dime store detective novels and westerns and stuff like that thought was garbage. More so in the same way. Although I do think TV is actually a good comp to social media as well, even though I didn't cover it on this. I feel like a lot of things people said about television in the 60s, 70s, and 80s sounds a lot like what people say about social media now as well, even though television's way more impersonal. So are novels for that matter.
Yeah.
Whereas like the social media does have a unique aspect in that it is all like hyper created by the people on it, and it's way more personal.
And there's no limit. Like TV is like you watch an hour of Friends and you're done.
Right.
You know, this is like you could go all night.
The real game changer was probably the paddle with the ball and the string. That's why people stopped reading. They just kept hitting the ball.
Eventually, that got people off. Was the paddle with the.
And I'm selling that next.
Yeah.
So
you should have it taped to the back of every book. Is a
paddle with the string.
They got off their factory shift that was 17 hours.
Right.
They had an hour break before they went back to their next shift, and they were just bouncing a ball.
Do not use brain.
And there was one more social media parallel with novels that I think is funny and pertinent, which is they were afraid that girls in particular, young girls in particular, would emulate what they saw in the novels or read in the novels, I suppose. One girl allegedly drowned herself because she read it in The Sorrows of Young Werther. So, like, I guess probably a book about some girl drowning herself or something like that.
Young girls are a problem, though.
But also,
they're to blame for the Salem witch trials.
It actually was kind of young girls that did that.
Really?
It was like the main accusers were like these 4 young girls that ate corn that was basically LSD and started accusing everyone of everything.
Wow.
And then they got in too deep, and then they hated some people, so they just accused them of being witches.
It did very quickly become political, and families were just using it to kill each other.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. Salem witch trials, pretty funny, actually.
Wow.
Now,
in retrospect.
Yeah.
In retrospect, pretty silly.
Not at the time, but
yeah, goofy.
Yeah, it's funny now. We can just laugh at them. The same way someone will laugh at us. Be like, you believe that idiot was scrolling so much?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck my robot. But they were worried that young girls would be overly affected by either kind of FOMO from the novels. They weren't getting the romance that these characters were.
Right.
Or they would emulate behavior like drowning themselves or maybe even killing. So one thing that reminded me of was the, I'm sure you remember this story, the Slender Man killing. Do you not know that at all? You know who Slender Man is, right?
Yeah, but why do I not? I can't remember.
It was like 2 12-year-old girls killed their friend because Slender Man was like big on social media. They killed their friend because they're like, oh, Slender Man told us on social media. The Slender Man, which is like a fictional character that got big on social media.
Right. Right. I do remember this. It was dark.
Yeah. That's not long enough way to laugh at, yeah. But this is. And so, yeah, but it was like the type of thing like people are going to either have FOMO from reading these novels and not getting to live the exciting lives that they read about in the novels, or they'll emulate the behavior like the girl who allegedly, this probably didn't happen, by the way, is probably a doctor being like, I know a lady whose baby fell out from the novel being too sexy, and I know another girl who drowned herself from the novel being too sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. I mean, that's what they say now about social media, right? It's like they're worried about girls. Well, and
not wrongly, though, right?
I mean, no, they're right, and I don't want to get too dark either. But like, there's a lot of now lawsuits that are coming out about parents who are suing for wrongful death in some cases.
Suing like Meta and stuff, or
yeah, they're trying because they're trying to have some, have these apps have some responsibility. There's that huge loophole though that they're not technically responsible for things that are posted
because they're not publishers, I think.
Yeah, there's like some weird rule that they're like able to like skirt around responsibility. But yeah, I mean like. It's crazy because that is such a crazy parallel. It's because that's happening now.
I always take like some like warm comfort in just being like, I'm not special.
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice to feel that like we're good. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's like someone else, hopefully dumber than me, got through this. So if they can do it,
we can do it.
Yeah, exactly. You're fine. You're fine. You're gonna be okay. Like if you've identified the problem,
right. You're being more mindful.
Right.
Then you're fine.
So that is all I got today.
Wow.
On the parallels of the first 2 needs for a social media detox.
And if that is reassuring, let me just completely upset the apple cart.
Oh, please.
We got a 3% chance of being hit by a city-destroying meteorite
Yeah, but it only destroys city.
in 2032. Yeah.
32?
But what if it's you?
What if it's Austin?
What if it's us?
Are they going to tell us more than a day in advance?
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe we should know though, right? We should at least know the area, right? Can't they see?
They won't. They wouldn't know the area till it gets closer, but they just 3% chance it might smack somewhere into Earth, which is mostly ocean.
Right. There's a lot of water out there.
So chances are, it'd be funny if it hit Indianapolis, but it would be
Bad still.
Yeah, but
Kinda
it's
sad.
not going to happen.
So hop on a surfboard
Right.
out in the Pacific.
It would actually, I think, just be funny if everyone got out in time, because I feel like Indianapolis, there's nothing there, so you can just rebuild it tomorrow,
Yeah. Or don't
or just go somewhere.
else.
Yeah, see, that's why you've never visited in Indianapolis. Doesn't look good on Instagram.
That's the thing. It's
You
like
go
if
to
I was
France or
planning
something,
if I was planning my vacation, that wouldn't be an Instagram worthy.
yeah, but think if Indy becomes like the next Grand Canyon. It's beautiful.
Well, it's if something lands there, a meteor,
it's immediate tourist destination.
right? Then it's the hottest place to go ever.
I would go there tomorrow, like the day
No,
after.
I would
it
go,
hit.
and take selfies.
Yeah, yes, for Instagram.
Yeah.
It goes, "What? At the meteor, can't get me, God. What up?"
Wow, this is so interesting. I love that I learned all this stuff.
I'm glad you find it interesting. It's just fun because I know I've thought about this with social media before, because I did know about the novel panic. I did not know about the pamphlet panic, but it is typically where I'm like, yeah, social media not great for you. I hate when I pick up my phone, especially around the kids, because it's just God, I'll do it so absentmindedly
Yeah.
that I'll just be like, God damn it, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
But it is the type of thing too where it's like it's almost less so that the comp is exactly the same, but people always say the same things.
Isn't that insane?
We're not very creative. We're
Right?
somehow the most and least creative species of all time.
Right. They're worried about the same things.
Always.
Mostly about women.
Yeah. Well,
But
I mean,
well,
keep it together, I guess.
that's insane.
I think they get the most generous reading of that is that they worry about women because they're just like, there's nothing we can do about men.
Yeah.
They're just animals.
And we can't even control them or
Right.
tell them what to do.
Like if there's only one,
They're not going to read. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, there is no
That's
novel
not
panic
a
for
problem. Yeah.
men. My wife is always like, you never read. And I'm like, I read news. I can't sit down and read a novel.
Read the words of other men. That's gay.
That's,
Just like
I think,
watching
the
sports, yeah,
general
we're always just
consensus of the guys.
Yeah,
Right?
we're always just like, God, we're just watching sports is such a cucked behavior.
Yeah.
We're just watching better men do better things.
Right. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But imagine having your emotions moved by another man.
Sad.
Cucked behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Can't do it.
So
Won't do it.
Can you support LeBron now? Can you watch him and be excited about it? Or are you,
Oh, not
you're
at
still
all.
holding a grudge?
No, I always hold a grudge.
Wow. No
Yeah.
matter what team he's on.
Hate whatever team he goes to. It's especially easy with the Lakers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
They're the Lakers.
And
So success. It's really
Oh.
success. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the most successful franchises.
Did you become a
Right.
Laker fan after I assume you were
Yes.
before.
I was before. I actually grew up a Bulls fan because I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
So, and
Were you old enough for Jordan?
Yeah, kind of. I
Okay.
knew what was going on, and I had my babysitter was a lovable. She was a cheerleader for the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, sorry.
And that was
a lovable.
a lovable,
I love that.
and it was iconic. And
Yeah.
so I kind of grew up a Bulls fan, but then obviously when I moved to LA, I was there. My first season was Kobe Bryant's last season as a Laker.
Okay.
So being there for that was the coolest thing ever. Seeing that goodbye tour was incredible.
I also don't really fuck with Kobe.
Oh.
Because he disowned Philadelphia. That's where he's from. But whenever he
What do you
was,
mean? He did not disown.
Yeah, he did.
How? In what way?
He hated Philadelphia. He's like, I'm from Italy. It's like, no, you're not, dude. You went to Lower
I don't
Merion.
really know if that's all true.
My grandfather went to most of his high school basketball games, more than my basketball games.
Okay.
Certainly.
That's why he really is.
Yeah,
Grandpa
honestly,
wanted to go watch Kobe.
it always comes back to a little jealousy over
Yeah,
there.
a little bit.
I would
little
also
bit part of
choose
it.
to watch Kobe. If my child is piddling around the
Putzing
court
around on
with
the
a basketball
court.
and 2 courts over, There's some kid just doing fucking cartwheel dunks.
You don't want to see me in 5th grade just missing wide open layups.
Grandpa's got to see history.
Yeah.
You know? That's crazy. I didn't
amazing.
realize you were there for Kobe's last
Yeah.
last run.
It was incredible. That was like the coolest. And being at the last game was like probably top 5 coolest days I've ever lived.
How long were you Lakers for?
I did for 4 seasons.
Were you
I
there
was
for LeBron too or no?
Yes, I was
Okay.
there for like really iconic stuff. Like I was there for the Lonzo Ball moments. I don't know
Oh,
if you follow
boy.
very closely NBA.
I know
That
his
was
dad just
fun.
lost a foot.
Yeah, he missed a foot.
Oh my god, I literally didn't even know that.
Yeah, his
What
dad
are you
had a foot
talking about?
amputated.
They amputated his foot.
What happened?
Oh,
Big
the
baller
shoes.
brand shoes. They were too shitty.
Too heavy?
Yeah.
Oh no. That's sad. But yeah, and then I was there for LeBron's first season and just like cool. It was cool years to be there.
Do you still get to get hooked up with tickets or anything?
Like if I want, you know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could.
Well, I
text
guess you
some
work
people.
there too still. Or like you
Yeah,
work
like
games.
that's the thing. Like I work a lot of games,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's I kind of get my fill.
Bubble
Has
ring
your
doesn't
job been
count.
fucking crazy since Luca got there? Or?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. It's just like such a different, you know, atmosphere
Yeah.
now, and it's just anytime you get like a huge player like that comes, it just feels like everything is just different.
Just buzz and the.
Yeah,
but I
very.
mean-
yeah, Lakers fans are the best.
Because it happens every time. They always get a generational player,
Yeah,
and then that guy leaves, and they replace it with another generational player.
There was
Spoiled.
only, in my memory, the only time they didn't have one was like 6 years in the 90s between Magic and Shaq.
oh,
Because they got Shaq in 96. Magic maybe retired in like 93 or something like that. So there's like a 2 or 3 year period where the Lakers were just a poverty franchise. And then it just went right back to being the fucking Lakers.
yeah,
But the NBA knows how to do it. Like Major League Baseball will let the Yankees be ass. Like the
Right.
NFL, they would let the Packers suck for a minute.
mm-hmm.
But the NBA is like, no, the Lakers need to be winning
Well,
games.
bringing it
Yeah.
full circle, Adam Silver's an AI bot.
Yeah, he's
now.
bot. I would just
Yeah,
say.
he's
He's
definitely a
probably a
synth.
bot.
yeah.
Yeah.
And a Slender Man.
He's not a real person.
I do feel like we are gonna start seeing, and this is just my conspiracy theory prediction. I think we're gonna start seeing people like actually being bot. Like I feel like that's gonna be a thing. Like, did you guys saw
Before we're
that
dead.
Elon? Yes, like
Yeah.
in the next 5 years, you saw Elon went out on that date with that robot. Did you see
I
this?
did not see that.
This was like 6 months ago or something.
Okay.
He went on like a date, like, and went out to dinner with like
Mhm.
a literal, like, she was kind of hot. Like, she was a hot robot.
Okay.
But like, I just feel like we're just gonna start seeing. I mean, it can't be that hard to do like prosthetic stuff and like make people. So it's like, are we
No.
gonna start cloning people? I don't know. I'm just saying.
I mean, Barbara Streisand clones her dogs every 20 years, so.
Oh, and that's adorable. so,
That's
so
monstrosity.
I guess if you use it
That's
for
not your
good,
dog.
Yeah, right?
yeah,
She just wants the same dog over and again. Teague, 2 things we do at the end of the show.
yeah.
We say, what'd you learn today? And then we say, who is today's Hitler, which is a joke we have because everyone's very dumb at history, and the only thing they ever compare anyone bad to is Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially who is the worst person in the story, if anyone. So
Okay.
what did you learn today?
Well, I learned about the pamphlets. I learned a lot about history. I'm gonna send this to my dad. He's gonna love it. And who's the Hitler of the story?
Yeah.
I mean, do we think it was the witches?
That's actually what I learned today. Is we probably got more witches than we know.
We didn't get 0 witches.
Yeah, there was a.
It feels outrageous to say 0 witches.
we
were good.
got a couple
Yeah.
witches in those
Right.
trials.
Now, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Did we cast too wide a net? Certainly. No
Definitely.
one's debating that.
Listen, the process isn't perfect.
Yeah. Did we get 0 witches? That's an outrageous statement. Out of 60,000?
Did we accomplish the goal?
Yeah.
Yes.
We could do better, though. It was a carpet bombing situation, and we need to be precise.
You
Right.
gotta fine tune things. You gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure we got better as the process went along.
My Hitler is just doctors. Any doctor before
Right.
1900 is probably a
A
very
whack
useless
job.
person. I always joke because my grandfather was a doctor, and he went to medical school probably in like the 1930s, I think. And I was like, man, that's really like 2 generations of doctors removed from when they were just crackpots.
Yeah, like what were they doing even?
Yeah, I
What
was
were
like,
they
you
even
the
learning?
First doctor?
Yeah.
Like the first actual doctor?
My Hitler today is definitely Gutenberg. If you
Dude,
if you go by body count, probably more than Stalin, probably more than Mao. Probably.
the fact that it is so fucking funny of the fact that like immediately as every time information gets democratized, it goes through like the worst birthing process ever, and before things get like okay.
Right.
Like it like it's almost you. And honestly, if you've been at a birth before, it really is. It's really just a mess before the baby's adorable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
There's a whole lot of blood and guts
Kill
before
with
that
fire.
baby gets cute.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, you're so right. And that's like kind of how social media was, I feel like.
Yeah, it
We
still
just-
is. I think we're still in the birthing process.
But I feel like we're coming down. We're coming down. I
I
feel
think
like we're starting.
people are getting a handle on it.
Right?
Yeah.
It
Because
feels like we're becoming less dependent.
the first generation born while social media existed is what do you think the oldest person of that is? 23, 24?
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to call
20?
Facebook the first like true universal social media, you would have to be born like 2004.
Right. Yeah.
So you're like 21.
Yeah, I think social media is getting into a good place where you can put your online classes, really get into drop shipping, adopt, the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Right.
All
Yeah.
the good stuff.
All the good stuff's out there.
Yeah.
And we're really evolving as a species.
You're not truly healthy until cholesterol is leaking through your hands, like
Right.
someone on
That's what they say. The doctors. say
the
that.
doctors say that. Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I'm on to health 4.0 though. 2.0, I've already skipped over 3.0. I'm on the 4.0.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Teague, where can everybody find you?
So it is ironic since I am promoting a social media detox, but you can find me at TiegeDP, which is TIEGEDP. And then the book's on Amazon and
The Social Media Detox.
Social Media Detox.
Check it
And,
out. Amazon.
yeah.
Anywhere else books are sold, or just Amazon?
It's actually just on Amazon right now.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Just
it's easy.
I mean, that's where everyone goes
Easy.
anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was a website you preferred. And then you have a website too, right? The Social Media Detox.
Yeah, so it's social-media-detox.net.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where they can find more info and
More info and yeah.
Go
Awesome.
directly to
Stuff.
the source,
exactly
Right.
right in the vein.
Put it in my veins.
That is all I've got for today. Teague, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh
You
my
were
God.
awesome.
Thank you. This
Yeah.
was awesome. I want to come back. I
Absolutely.
want
Next
to
time
learn
you're in
more
Austin,
things.
you're welcome anytime.
Okay. Yay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It was hilarious you were even here.
I
Because
know.
I remember I DM'd you and it was like, if you ever. And you're like, oh, in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there in a week.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah.
That
so
worked out.
thank you so
He
much
was
for coming
stalking
on.
you on social media. That's what happened.
Yeah.
No.
I was every day. I was like, I need a reason to DM Teague.
Austin?
And then she published a book. And then, I was like, done.
Yeah, Rob and most women, investigative journalists when it comes to social media.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that is all I've got for today. Teague, thank you so much for joining us. For Dan Regester and Teague Dooley Panko, I am Rob Fox.
You just got sauce served.